about our perceptions of Asia, our understanding, or rather contending perceptions, right? Because there are different visions of Asia. I think that one of the predominant narratives, quite popular, has been one of great power relations, so United States and China, shaping the region, shaping the future regional order, the G2, the Great Two, United States and China, which was something, of course, President Xi Jinping, during the Barack Obama administration at the time sort of proposed to the United States. And then the other narrative being that it's not about Asia's future, it's about China's future. So somehow that Asia is actually China. And that Asia's future, it will be China-centric future, or that there will be some sort of US-China kind of bipolarity emerging, and Asia being split into two camps. So this has been the predominant narrative based on great power relations and US-China competition. And this narrative, I think, is becoming even more dominant right now, as US leadership appears to be on a steady decline, diplomatic, economic, of course, due to in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, but so is growing distrust and mistrust of China. I very often hear in many analyses this argument that the United States is losing out to China in terms of leadership, but China's response to COVID-19 pandemic has also, as I mentioned earlier, been questioned. And that has also led many countries to sort of question to what extent actually they can really rely on China being the leader of the future, of the region in the future. To be sure, this is nothing new. In Asia, the debate about the future of Asia and whether or not there will be US or Chinese leadership is a debate that has been going on for quite a long time. So it's nothing new, but the COVID-19 crisis has intensified this debate, and has intensified the wariness, the understanding in many Asian capitals that they should not lock themselves in either US-China kind of perspective, or in a region where either United States or China may emerge as the dominant hegemon. The region probably is now moving in the direction of a certain, perhaps, multipolarity, or a region where we see more minilaterals and triangles emerging, with more issue-based cooperation led by middle powers, regional powers. They're already, as I alluded to that a little bit earlier, they're already signs of it increasingly, those trilaterals and minilaterals that are emerging and increasingly addressing a number of issues which neither China nor US alliances are able to tackle. And I think, for example, Japan is a very interesting example. Japan has been at the center of these different minilateral groupings, some with US allies and friends, but others in groupings which exclude, in fact, the United States. So perhaps we will see an Asia where it will be neither China nor the United States, or some sort of a US-China bipolarity, but a region where we will see multiple centers, multiple poles, multiple players, which will engaging on functional cooperation on an issue, let's say, based basis. And I think, so this is one of the aspects of what perhaps is misunderstood, the fact that we tend to really focus on the great powers and on possible hegemony, either US or Chinese, whereas we have to read in between the lines when we look at the security dynamics in the Asia Pacific, of those trends that are emerging, and that in the coming years, as this mistrust towards the United States and China is growing, perhaps are giving way to different levels of cooperation and different centers of cooperation. And I think a second aspect, to which I also alluded a little bit earlier, what may be misunderstood is, again, based on the comparison with Europe, that Asia if compared with Europe, is less stable, that in Asia there's no EU-like integration or institution. And so by default, Asia then is prone to conflict. I think that it's very important for us to sort of adjust our interpretation or looking at Asian Pacific dynamics by taking into consideration Asia's own, I can say, unique historical evolution, geopolitical settings, like any other region, whether it's Latin America or, let's say, Africa. Each region has its own specific characteristics. And by taking those specific historical, geopolitical settings and characteristics, I think we can sort of move away from a very simplistic understanding of the Asia-Pacific as perhaps failure, because if you compare with Europe, there's no EU institution, but try to appreciate the region's unique and evolving security order.